Hello everyone, just a little video to explain the workings of the call system and the timer associated with it. I appreciate that it's a little bit sort of digital, and it's probably the only thing really that's going to be a concern for some of you, so I appreciate that, and hopefully this video will explain a little bit about how it works, because some of you weren't there whilst I was installing for me to explain, so apologies for that. But hopefully this should answer a couple of the questions. So this is the timer. This is a digital timer, so this plugs in just to a normal socket, and this essentially activates the caller, which is this apparatus here. I'll explain that in a sec. But so this is the kind of the device which powers the timer at a certain schedule, which I'll explain how to set that in a sec. So it's got the time on it. If it's blank, you might need to stick a safety pin or something into this little thing here, which is a reset button with a little tiny circle. But it should be operating. When you plug it in, it should either be the set time should be plugged in, so it should be the right time, or if it's been unplugged, there is another video on the resources section on the website which explains how to reset the timer. So it's a little bit difficult to see the screen because it's not backlit, which I appreciate. It's not the easiest thing to see in a dark and dimly lit 12th century church, so you might need a little your phone light or a little torch just to see it more clearly, but hopefully you can see whilst I explain this process. So you can see days of the week will be on the top there, then it will have the scrolling clock, and then it will say just here, which is the kind of important one, you'll see it says on. Very small, very difficult to read. If it says on, that means that this timer is powering the caller 24/7, which we don't want because there is a schedule set. Schedule, yeah, one or the other. And so this button here, timer button, shows you the program, which basically, as you can see, one on means it comes on, that's the first program, so it comes on at 7 a.m. 7 days a week, all the days are lit up. So that's off, one off. So this is the first program, comes on at 7, goes off at 8:30, on again at midday, off at 1, then on again at 7 p.m. and off again at 8:30 p.m. Some of you might have a different program to this or different timings because of where you're located. If you're more rural, I might have set it for longer, but that's the essential minimal kind of schedule that I've set for each location. So those are the times set. You can adjust them with the buttons here. Like I say, that's the setting of that is a separate video for that, but this is to show you the complete setup. So back to clock. So we were on clock already. So you can see it says on there. Now to test the unit, so if you're just coming to it and it's been set up and it hasn't been used for the winter, etc., and you just want to see if it's working and it's not within the timer program that's been set. To test it, you can press this button and it will go from auto on, so on, auto and off. So off is no power to the unit. Auto will activate the program timers that you've just seen, or the schedule you've just seen, and then on will be constant power to the unit. So that will test it. So if you set it to on, you can test the unit outside of the automatic program schedule. So that's on auto, so it will activate it during those times that we've shown. The random button, I've explained this a few times, but just to make sure this one's slightly more clear than I've probably made it before, that if you press the random button, you'll see a little R in a black box appear. Now that activates the caller. So essentially, this is a digital timer for everything, not just for Swift calls. So if you're setting this up for a security light, you can set this up and plug your light into it, go on holiday, press random, and it will come on, just randomly, so that it looks like you're home at 2 or 3 in the morning, up and about, raiding the fridge or something. But so yeah, that's the kind of, so we don't want random because it will then just avoid the timer programs that we've put in. So we want it to activate during the schedule that we've set. So random off. So that's the basic operation. Now let me just show you that in conjunction with the caller and the speaker system. So that will need to be, so if you can keep that plugged in over the winter somewhere, it's got a battery in it, and the battery lasts for a couple of weeks. So if you get a power cut, the program memory will be retained. Equally, if you keep it plugged in over winter, likewise that gets retained. So then the first thing you have to do, really, May the 1st or even earlier, because we've had Swifts earlier this year, but May the 1st, if you take this black adapter, which will be near this timer, so this is the adapter that powers the amp. So the amp's in here, so this is where the SD card is. Inside here, that's the USB stick, which has got the calls on it. This thing plays the calls, which obviously feeds this speaker, which will be inside one of the colony boxes. So that's how it works. That's the hardware. So to get it to operate, this will be plugged in. So 1st of May, this should be unplugged. And then you plug that in on the 1st of May. Now there's no call. Now that's because it's on auto. So you won't hear anything because it's not within the schedule. And actually, if it's in that timing activation schedule, you won't hear anything until the next activation. So sometimes, even if you're testing it and it's on auto and you're within that schedule of it being activated, it won't activate because it needs to click into that. So yeah, even if it's on auto and you plug it in that time period, you won't hear it. So to test it, you press the on, auto, off button, and you'll see it scroll. Well, you won't because it's too far away, but you'll see it scroll auto. So just there, auto, off, auto, and then on. And then it'll activate. Now, if you've got one of my new callers, this is the older cooler setup. There's no on and off switch on this one. The new callers have got an on-off button here, which is that one there. And when you press that, you'll then hear that the caller will activate. You'll hear a little voice come out of the speaker, but if you're down in the bottom of the stairwell, you won't hear it activating this, so you have to go up. Now, if you heard then, there was a delay. Now that delay is due to the fact that there are, on the USB stick, there are blank spaces, which is basically to give the core system a more natural, less kind of incessant playing style. So it has little breaks here and there. So there are 30-second breaks, and then it plays for 2 minutes or 1 minute. So if you can't hear it straight away, that's most likely reason that you're in that period of pause. So that's the on-off button there, just to show you if you've got one of this new style. It's just there. It's literally just to push it in. So just a little press button. So if you've tried the other elements, that would be the possible reason. Some of them don't have that exposed, so I've left that out. This is more my domestic use box. And then, so yeah, that's the volume control. So again, if it's really low volume or really too high. So this is a pause. We're in a quiet moment now. So you can see it's, no matter what I do, it's not, it's still playing, but it's a pause moment. So that's, yeah, there we go. So it's started again. So let's turn that off. So then this wire here, you'll see this wire comes from the amp box. So this is the timer, the adapter. The adapter powers the amp, which is in here, which has got the USB cut stick in it. And then from the amp is the speaker wire. So this speaker wire, you won't see this part. This will be up in the tower, in the colony box. This will run up through maybe a white cable rather than a black, depending on the nature of the architecture, paintwork, etc. So that's it. You might, like I say, you might not hear this. You might, obviously, depending on how hard of hearing you are, you might need to travel up the tower or employ a grandchild or someone younger just to be able to hear it, because yeah, it might not be that loud. Even if you stood outside, sometimes it's not easy to hear, windy days, etc., tall towers. So hopefully that's explained the setup, the hardware setup, because I've explained parts of it before, but not as a unit. So apologies if, yeah, this is the first time you've seen it and you've been struggling to get to grips with this. But the reality is, what I'm hoping is that this timer can stay plugged in somewhere. A few people will take them home in the winter and keep them plugged in. If it does get unplugged, like I say, you can reset it. There is a video that explains it in the resources section, like I've already mentioned. But if it stays plugged in, the program is already in there. So on May the 1st, all you have to do is plug this adapter in, like so, which will then, when it's on auto, like I say, will activate the cooler when it's in the program. And then on August the 1st, you just unplug it. So it should hopefully not be too much of a problem to get it to operate. Hopefully that's it. Like I say, any issues, give me a shout individually, and I can. I've talked to a few people through the process on the phone. I mean, happy to do that. I'm happy to FaceTube, whatever is easiest for people. Yeah, FaceTime me, or we can do a video call. Yeah, either way really. But thanks ever so much for sticking with it and supporting the Devon Swift project. Thanks ever so much. What a lovely sound.